Well, we are getting ready to get going like crazy on this hillside. I have been doing a bunch of things with the farm and a bunch of things, odds and ends here and there in the last few days. This hillside is going to get blitzed in. I want to take all this gravel off of this road, bring it back out of here. I'm going to redistribute it on the new road, and then I'm going to change this entire slope to just be one contoured slope from the top of the road up there by the chicken coop, down this road slope to this road, and then to the back side of the shop. Basically, think of that as the perimeter, and this whole thing is just going to be sloped out and dished. Now, up here where all this grass and all this green is, in the middle of there is probably 20 blueberry plants, 15 blueberry plants. There's an elderberry, a gooseberry, and then the crabapple. And I don't want to disturb any of that if I don't have to. So the plan is to slope this back to meet this big shear wall at the shop. We're going to slope it back just to meet that edge, so we've got a nice steady slope. And all of this out here is going to get pushed in and sloped out. We're going to build this radius around right here to come right through here and make a nice blend out. So I'll pull all the trees up. I got to pull all these logs and roots up, get them out of here and out of the way, and set down so they can get processed and set into the stack. And then I need to get my 48-inch scraper bucket and get in here and grub all of this gravel off and try to get it piled up. I don't even know where, just down here somewhere, piled up out of the way so that it can get distributed on that road. I don't want to put it on the road just yet because I've been blading it with the tractor, or with the excavator, and working it down with the excavator, and it's in good shape, but I'd like to get a nice little finished blading with the tractor. Because the blade on the back of the tractor, I can let it loose and it can kind of float. I want to take the time to let that kind of dry out and then just butter it off with that blade so it's nice and smoothed out. And then I can take this gravel and put it up on there and distribute it and work that into the surface and get it pushed down in real nice, and it'll set pretty nicely. got all the gravel grubbed up, plus obviously some of the dirt, and that's okay. This is going to go in as a base layer, so it doesn't really matter to me. It's going to get bladed out and scraped up and put down, so I don't really care if there's dirt mixed into it. Now, one of the critical points of transition is right here. Back in the day, we had just started carving this pad for the shop, and we had an initial road that came up. You can see the two gates right up there, the tops of them, and the road that comes down to those gates came toward this water hydrant and curved straight down right through here. That was where the road was when I installed the water system. So my main line comes down from the tanks to the hydrant, and then came down the center of the old road, right through here and down in front of where the shop is. In fact, that line has got to come pretty close to right in front of this concrete, because I only went about 18 inches out. A T, a 12-inch, a shut-off valve, and another T so that I could come up for the hydrant, and then went on in through here to supply the water into the kitchen. And that shutoff is right. I got the cap kind of buried, but it's right here. So that's the shutoff valve. So that means that my main line comes right through here. And then it went out here and around the corner and down the road. So as I'm making this transition, I have to be very aware of where that line is. I don't want to start digging in and expose it, or worse yet, hit it when I'm trying to shape this and get carving too deep. I wanted to get into this dirt to see if I could locate the old trench, and I found it. You can see here, I'm going to try to stay out of the shadow of it, so you can see here this is all consistent. It's that brown, kind of a medium brown clay, and then right here you get this marbling effect till here, and then from here it's this sandstony looking stuff. That right there is 3 feet, which is the width of the trench. I now know I have it identified here. As I've been cutting this off, I've had a little excess of spoils, and I cleaned up the corner up here by the fence posts. I had a pile there, so I've pushed all this off, and I'm just literally just driving it right down. I'm tracking it down, and as I get out here to the baseline of where that's going to get built out, then I'll start building up as I get down there, and it'll just start packing up in lifts, and we'll have this built out. Now it's going to take, gosh, I don't know, at least 6 or 8 dump truck loads worth of material, and I don't know if I'll have it all just in this project, which is okay because I got a whole bunch that's coming out down to the bottom that I can load in the truck and dump off right here and then push it off. That's a lot of work reshaping a mountain, but it's going to be worth it in the long run. Yesterday afternoon, I came up and spent about 2 hours or so starting to move the gravel pile, and distributing it on this road surface and blading that down and pulling it down across the surface to get started building that up. I need to finish getting this pile moved out of here. It's probably more than I want to put in just this spot, so I'll probably blend it up into here for now. Should be able to pack that down in a little bit pretty well and have it look pretty all right. So I'll probably kind of blade that over and back drag it with the bucket of the loader and try to kind of set it a little bit. That last bit, I pulled the pin out of the blade for the angle that locks it in the position there and allowed it to float left to right to help make sure that it would kind of smooth out this transition where it goes from one angle and needs to kind of transition differently than the tractor because of the distance, and just kind of help float that all out right through here. So it looks good. It needs to settle, it needs to be packed in, but I'm not too worried about that right now. I think now we are ready to dive into this. I got a piece of poly pipe up there and a few branches and sticks and twigs. I'll probably see if I can gather some of that just a little bit. I've got a little pile up in there right now still. I think I'm gonna go ahead and get that burning first, and then I'll get started putting some dirt in place and moving things around. Now I'm gonna start down here with this good soil, and I'm gonna work that down into my line and start shaping this off to get things established where I want it, to get the finished contour of things how I think it ought to look. Okay, now that's something I can work with. That is going to be just about right. So right in here at the corner of this road, I started to shape this with a little bit steeper profile right through here. And that's because I want to put a couple more perennial shrubs right in there. Just like I did with the hazels here, I have some bush cherries that I'm going to put in right here on this row. As we get up here by the coop, I've got to do a little bit of retaining from that maple tree toward the crabapple and around the backside there. This hillside right here at the road edge, that's going to get pulled back and it's going to get used up here for fill in this corner. And all through here, we're going to create a pig feed garden that I can till every year right through here. And I can just plant the heck out of it with things like zucchini, summer squash, winter squash, other things like probably end up planting some chard, like Swiss chard or something like that. Things that the pigs love like that. Some of these big plants that put up a lot of vegetation that I can just harvest an armful, a bucket load every day and take up and feed to the animals just as this nice fresh supplemental feed. That's the plan. I'm gonna get on the tractor. I'm gonna turn the blade around so that it's back dragging. I'm gonna leave it to float left to right, and I'm just gonna drag this surface, kind of swirl around all over it, take the humps and bumps out, and try to refine it and smooth it out just a little bit more. Okay, I'm gonna consider that done. That has got the road shaped out really nicely. For now, where the bucket is kind of temporary shape until I get that material built out. All of the dirt down in here bladed out real nice, and I like the way it looks. But for now, I think that is going to be considered shaped. So I'm going to go get Ola and bring her up here so we can kind of look at the layout of how we want to do this. I think more than anything, I want to show her the work and show her where she has room to put flowers in the mix and how that'll balance out together. So, man, that looks good. I love it.
Oh, look at that. That looks nice. Can you imagine all this being like pumpkins and squashes and gooseberries and...
In 4 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this little shelf here, that's steeper, that's for the bush cherries.
Oh, that will look great. Can I pick up like 5 more?
Probably 4 at least, 3 or 4.
Hold on. For snow blowing.
I'll be over them. Okay, that's why I wanted them here. Yep.
Okay, I was like,
yep.
We had to talk about that.
So we're gonna have the bush cherries here. We'll shoot over that with the snowblower. Then we'll have garden bed for animal feed garden right along that, from the top up here all the way down, that we'll plant for animal
and that's where
produce.
All the pig poop is going to go down here.
It's all going to come out here, and I'll spread it around and then I'll till it in. Okay, so from here you can see everything laid out really well. Imagine the bush cherries here, just like the hazels.
Yep.
But they can actually be thicker because they're only a 6-foot bush.
Yeah.
So we'll put them in here, and then
so nice.
And then in between, on the downhill edge, you could put like some kind of a small low shrub, you know, whatever flowers you want to put.
Okay.
In there to intermix with it.
Okay. It's really, really good. Honey, it looks really good. Logan, what do you think?
It looks good.
Yeah, Logan likes it too.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to let this road settle tonight, and my method for that may be a little bit silly to some, but it sure is danged effective. That's going to sit there and go for a couple of hours. It's in high range, so it'll move pretty quick, especially once it gets down to the slope a little bit. And it's just going to move across there and put a ton of water right across this surface. And it'll set all the dirt and fines and dust down and let the gravel just be on top, and it'll settle in pretty good with that much water.